Hi everyone and welcome in the year 2021. It's the 1st of January 2021. I'm Needlecraft Danny and this is actually not a normal update video but a WIP Parade. So I'm going to tell you everything I did in 2020 and everything I'm planning on doing in 2021, and I'm going to show you all my finishes for 2020 and my WIPs that I still have. It's going to be a long one. I'm sure about that. I have my piece of paper here and it's written on both sides. So I have a lot to tell you. I'm going to start with all the preamble. The review for 2020. I'm going to tell you my plans for 2021. And then I finally will I'm going to show you my WIPs. So it will take a lot of talking from my side, so if you want you can scroll through if you're not interested in that and just here to see some WIPs. But I thought I would show you or tell you some things that I plan to do and that I did last year. Or yeah, it's last year. It's already first. Yeah, I thought I would start with a life update, but honestly, during 2020, there was not a lot happening. I did stitch a lot because I was here at home, not going out. In Germany, we had a lockdown in March, April, and are presently in another lockdown. That's why you're not allowed to look at my nails because the nail salons are closed for 2 months now. And I have acrylic nails, so that's kind of a problem. But yeah, otherwise you could not do a lot. And even during the summer, where it technically was allowed to meet up with a few more people, I still did not want to do that because I wanted to visit my parents, I wanted to visit my grandparents, and they're all kind of in the group that is affected the most. They are not super young anymore. My mother always had problems with her lungs, so I did not want to go out that much, just because I knew I wanted to see my family again, and I cannot risk of getting corona and giving it to them, because honestly, I don't know if I would be able to live with that. Knowing that you kind of gave them a disease you're not sure they will survive. Yeah, not going to happen. I stay at home. So that's basically what I did. I did not meet a lot with friends. I went to work because, I have to. But otherwise, I kept a lot to myself, which meant a lot of stitching. And you will see that when I show you my WIPs. I have pictures of from the 31st of December 2019. So I will be able to show you what I did in this year, which is pretty cool. So I will do that later on, just that you know, next year, or this year, I forget that it's already 2021, I will not do as much stitching as I did. That's not going to happen anymore. Yeah, not happening. If this corona thing stops happening quite soonish, which I hope. Okay, let's get to my 2020 and review my 2020. What did I do? What did I finish? And so on. So 2020 was my year of full coverage. And the beginning of every year, well, for 2020 and 2021, because I started stitching in 2019. But for those years, in the beginning of the year or the end of the year before, I started setting myself goals. And I did that for 2020 for all of my WIPs. I set some goals and I wanted to finish them. As it was my year of full coverage, I finished all my full coverage plans, which is pretty amazing, and I'm really happy about that. Overall, I had, with all the starts I did during the year, I had 26 goals or 26 WIPs, and I finished 23 of those goals. 3 are not done, and they're nowhere close to being done, but that's fine. it's not as planned. There are a few WIPs I barely touched, and that I want that to change for 2021. But overall, I'm really happy with how many goals I actually finished. So that's pretty nice. Overall, I had 5 new starts. 2 of them were planned at the beginning of the year. And I had 7 finishes, which is pretty amazing. All of those were planned, and for a few of them, it got super busy the end of the year because I wanted to get those finishes in, and I did not have a lot of time left, but a lot of stitching. But I managed to do that, and I'm really happy. So 7 finishes, 5 starts means I started 2020 with 21 WIPs and now have 19, which is pretty amazing because it kind of was the goal to get below 20 WIPs in the long run. So for 2023, 2024, I want to get below 15 WIPs. I have a lot of big full coverage pieces, which you will see later on. Oh, you can actually see it. I have my WIPs all lined up next to me. They start right here. And back there, you can see the last ones. So I have a lot of them lying over here. Yeah, and in the long run, I want to get below 15 WIPs. As I said, a lot of big full coverage ones. You will see them later on. So that will take a few years. And that's why I said 2023, 2024. For 2021, I kind of hope to stay about the same level. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. So let's get started with my finishes for last year. During March, I finished Wedding Birds by Nikki Pattern. That's basically what it looked like. I stitched the whole thing on a green fabric. The tree was in B5200, the hearts and birds 817, and the names and the date I did stitch in a dark gray. So yeah, that was finished, but I can't show you the finished project because I don't have it here. So I just have the pattern here, and I showed you that. If you want to see the whole thing, you would have to watch my WIP updates from back then. So beginning or end of 2019, beginning of 2020, that's when I stitched on it quite a lot, especially for travel stitching. Okay. My next finish is the Joyful World Cell by Snowflower Diaries. She has those up on her blog. I will link everything below if you're wondering. She has those up on her blog, and they are all free, so you can get them for free. And basically, January here, they look, sorry for bumping the camera, they look like that. So they have all the same frame, they have all some kind of animal in the middle and the monthly name up there. I stitched those monthly names in German, so that's why you might see some different ones. I stitched all of those on a 32 count Belfast linen 2/2. The Belfast linen is the color Silvery Moon, and I stitched with the call for gentle exemplar threads and DMC. So beginning of 2020, I had finished July up until January, and in 2020 I then stitched February, March, April, May, and June. So basically only 5, but I counted them all as one WIP, so therefore I finished this WIP this year. So I'm going to show you all of them here. So this January, after the video, it will go up back here where I have them all and switch them out monthly. So January. February, March, April. I can bring them a little closer to think about it. May, and June. So those were all those I stitched in 2020. The rest was already stitched in 2019. And they're all ironed like that, so I can just put them in the frame and don't lace it or anything. I just put it in there and can switch it out monthly. Okay, now those that I already finished in 2019 but kind of belong to the WIP as well. This is July, August, September, October, November, and just switched it out of the frame, December. Yeah, that's the Joyful World cell. As I said, the frame is going up there once the video is done. Next, I finished my focus piece for 2020, so that's pretty cool. My focus piece was a full coverage because 2020 was the year of full coverage. And this is Mini Winter Rose, charted by Heaven Enough Designs. The artwork is by Rachel Anderson. I can put a picture in there what it looked like last year, I think. So I will do that. I put a picture in of what this one looked beginning of last year. So basically, beginning of the year, I had those 2 pages done and started a little bit in the third one. And yeah, the rest I did till July. I finished this one in July. It's stitched on 28 count 2/1 10 stitch, and I'm still waiting for it to get professionally framed. But as I just told you, I'm not going out a lot during Corona, so I don't go into shops to ask for professional framing. I don't know if there's a good shop somewhere here in Bremen, but I have a few shops on my list, and as soon as kind of the situation quiets down, I want to go to a few of those and ask if they actually frame needle art or cross stitch, because I don't know which shops here can do that professionally and really good, so I first want to ask. So yeah, this is Mini Winter Rose. She's beautiful, and I can't wait to have her framed. I can't wait to have her on my wall, but I want to have it done professionally and not on my own. So therefore, I will have to wait a little bit longer and then have her in a wonderful frame, perfectly framed on my wall, and I can't wait for that. Okay, as I said, this one was finished in July, and the rest of my 2020 finishes were all finished during December. So in December, I finished 4 projects. Over the whole year, I finished 7. So more than half of my projects were finished in December when I just concentrated on finishing them. So the first one was my year-long cell, so stitch along. That was not planned beginning of the year, but after I did my WIP Parade last year, I did that one middle of December 2019, and afterwards I discovered this one, and it was the Grimm's Fairy Tale cell by Clouds Factory, and I just read Grimm's Fairy Tales and I was in. So this is the whole piece. It's stitched on 16 count Ada by Picture This Plus in the colorway Jade, and then stitched it 2/1 full cross with the call for DMC, and there were 3 weeks dye works in there as well. So this is the whole piece. Really happy. Yeah, this one is another one I want to get framed, but probably not right away, because at the moment I can't imagine having it up on my wall. So at the moment it's just lying in my bin of shame and waiting for an opportunity to get on my wall. I'm a process stitcher. I'm not stitching for the finished project. I'm stitching for the fun of it. And therefore I'm fine with that and having it in my bin of shame and not getting a vote. Grimm's Fairy Tale cell was a new start on the 10th of January, so I don't have a picture of what it looked like before 2020. It was a new start in 2020 and also a finish, so that's pretty nice. Okay, the next one is Royal Games #1 by Mirabilia. I finished that one, I think, on the 29th of December, so really close to the end of the year. That's what it's looking like right now. I should probably turn it around. And then I show you a picture of what it looked like before 2020 here. So basically, beginning of the year, I had started in the middle, worked my way up in here through her skin, and I think I had just done her face, but not completely, without backstitching and so on. So I finished the Queen of Hearts completely and completely stitched Queen of Spades during 2020. So I'm really happy with that, because it was my year of full coverage. And nevertheless, I finished a bigger one of those non-full coverage ones, especially because it has a lot of beads and back stitching, and yeah. But yeah, they are beautiful. For those ones, I will wait for to FFO them, because I have the companion piece, which is Royal Games number 2 with the Queen of Clubs and the Queen of Diamonds. And I first will finish that one and then frame them together. So therefore, this one has to wait for the other one to be done. Yeah, Royal Games number 1 by Mirabilia. I will roll them. You can see it probably while I talk to you. That might happen for my WIPs later on as well, just because otherwise it will get so chaotic over here. Not happening. Okay, the next one is the Hello Dear Cell by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. So that's that one. I think it was announced during September 2020, when I already knew some of my goals I would not be able to reach. So I already started concentrating on my goals and to finish those. And then this one was announced and I ordered the kit and I started with the stitch along. And I finished it 28th of December. I did the companion piece, which was Hello Pumpkin Cell, also by Caterpillar Cross Stitch, of course, during summer 2019. And when the companion piece was announced, I had to get it as well. There will be 2 more pieces. So this is, as I said, Hello Pumpkin that I stitched during summer last year is the autumn one. This one is the winter tree, and she will release a spring one and summer one probably next year as well. And I'm going to stitch those as well. So this one is stitched on 28 count 1/1 full cross. And I think I did not tell you for the Royal Games now, so I will come back to that in a second. So as I said, 28 count 1/1 full cross. I concentrated a lot, and during December I stitched part 2, 3, 4, and 5, with part 1 being finished in October. So I concentrated a lot on this one during December, and that's fine because I finished my goal. My goal was to finish it. I wanted it to finish according with the stitch along, but that did not happen. But yeah, I finished it in 2020, so that's pretty nice. Also, it was a start during 2020, so no before picture with this one. Okay, for Royal Games number 1, I bring that out in a second. Once again, just to tell you, it's stitched on a 32 count Belfast linen, 2/2, the skin also 2/2, and the fabric is white opalescent. Yeah, you can see that. Sparkle and shimmer. Yeah, so that's the fabric for this one, and the companion piece will be stitched on the same fabric. Okay, next finish and last finish. I started on the 3rd of January 2020, so no before picture for this one as well. It's also stitched on the 28 count 1/1 full cross, and I'm talking about Temperature Garden by Stitchin' Mommy. All my projects, all my projects that I show you here, either if it's a finish, a new start, a WIP, I will link below. And with this one, I have to be a little bit carefully. I stitched down here my zip code and the city I live in, so I don't want to have that on the internet. I have to be a little bit careful with holding it. But this is the Temperature Garden, so for every day you have a flower petal and you stitch in a color that resembles the highest temperature of the day. So mine is not super colorful, and especially during the summer, it's not super red. It's more like yellow and orange, but I'm fine with that. I'm going to stitch another one of those, probably during 2022, and then with my hometown. So this is the town I presently live in, and I want to have one for the town I grew up in. So yeah, here we go. Bit complicated to hold it, but yeah, Temperature Garden by Stitchin' Mommy. Okay, and that's all my finishes. 7 is pretty nice. I don't think I had that many in 2019, but as I said, 2019 I started stitching. But I don't have 7 finishes planned for 2021 either. So yeah, I'm quite happy with 7 finishes. Some of them were quite small, but there were some big ones in there as well. So as I said, I'm really fine with that. Okay, that's my 2020. As I said, I'm really happy with how the year turned out. I did a lot of stitching, and yeah, I think for my full coverage pieces overall, I did 176,000 stitches. That's nice. That's really nice. So yeah, as I said, really happy. And yeah, let's get going with my plans for 2021. Just very general plans. 2021 is going to be my year of fancy ladies. I concentrated a lot on full coverage last year, so I want to concentrate on something else. And this year I'm going to take my fancy ladies. I do not have a whole lot of them, but I decided, for example, full coverage pieces where a lady is in the front or the main attraction of the piece. I count them as fancy ladies as well, so they will get a little bit more attention than the other full coverage ones. For my goal setting, I decided for 200 full coverage stitches every day, which is quite a lot. So I'm not sure if I will be able to manage that. I don't want to stitch 200 every day before I move to something else. I just want to have that as kind of a general to get to how many stitches I want to do on my full coverage pieces. So I took 200 full coverage stitches every day. I took 365 days. And the amount of stitches that came out for the year, I divided by my projects. And that's why they have quite strange goals on them. But I will get to that a little bit later. It's just a very strange amount of stitches I want to do for each of them. So every full coverage WIP will get the same amount of stitches. Doesn't matter if it's full coverage or 10 stitch. My fancy lady full coverage ones will get double the amount. So as I said, a little bit more attention to those than for my not full coverage. Sorry, for my non-fancy lady full coverage ones. Technically, I do not have any starts planned for the year except for one, which will be happening probably at the beginning of the year. So as I said before, I want to get my WIP count down to about 10 to 15, and presently I'm at 19. So no new starts planned, as I said, except for one, but a lot of finishes or some finishes and a lot of progress. I'm going to continue in the Enchanted Stitching Challenges group on Facebook. So every month they have a Disney movie, and for this Disney movie you have weekly prompts, you have monthly prompts, and they will have a yearly challenge as well. Most probably I'm just going to go with the weekly challenges, and I'm going to go for the highest tier. So I have 4 projects with each 250 stitches. Normally that's about the amount. I want to keep track which project I used for how many challenges, to just keep it kind of even for every project, to use for about the same amount of challenges to get progress on all of my projects, because as I said, last year I had some projects that got nearly no attention, nearly no progress, and I want to avoid that for 2021. The rest, normally those 4 prompts with 250 stitches should take me around 3 to 5 days, so I have a little bit left of the week. Those days, either I stitch on something I really want to stitch on because it's close to finish or close to goal finish, or I just have a lot of fun stitching on it, or I want to use it for FFOing my pieces. As you just saw, I do not do a lot of FFOing. And with some of them, I really want to have them FFO'd. Some of them, as I said, I do not want to, or at least not yet. But yeah, that's why I want to have a day, or I want to spend some time FFOing stuff. And last year, because of my really high set goals, I did not do a lot of my other crafts like crochet or knitting or sewing. I'm not good at sewing, but I want to learn it. But especially crochet and knitting, I want to do some more this year. as I said, last year, 2020, there was not a lot of time for it because I wanted to reach my stitching goals. This year, I want to make time for other crafts as well. So yeah, that's kind of. Oh, and I have crochet, knitting, and paint by numbers. I bought myself 3 pieces that I want to have up on my walls actually. And I barely started one of those because I did not have the time, especially the end of the year where I realized some of my goals will not get done. I rushed to finish those goals and therefore I did not have a lot of time for anything else. Yeah, that's it. That's basically my general plans for 2021. Now let's go to my WIP Parade and actually show you some projects. But again, a few words to my WIP Parade. They are sorted chronologically. So oldest project first, newest project last. I don't have categories this time. I did that last year with my last WIP Parade. I sorted them into full coverage, non-full coverage. This year, I'm just going to go through them all because my fancy ladies are in non-full coverage and full coverage. So just going through them all chronologically. I have a picture of what they look like beginning of the year. So I think 31st of December. So I show you that, what they looked like at the beginning of the year. I'm going to tell you what my goal was for 2020, if I made it, and then my goal for 2021. So yeah, quite a bit of talking for every one of my WIPs. But yeah, I think we can get started with the WIP Parade. I'm probably about half an hour in and have not showed you a lot of projects, but yeah, that's how life turns out sometimes. I know you're here for the projects, so now let's get started with them. First of all is my oldest WIP, which is the WIP I started cross-stitching with. I call it Lavender Garden. I'm not sure if it actually has a name. It's by Rico Designs up in here. That's the name of the designer. I think it's German. And as I said, it does not have a real name, so I call it Lavender Garden. I show you a picture of what it looked like last time, or last year, here. And my goal 2020 was to have 3.5 sides finished. This is where I'm at, so I did not reach my goal. What did I do during 2020? I stitched a little bit more up here in the border, and I stitched this. That's it. This is mostly the project why I want to have more equal progress over all of my projects during 2021. This one, I think, got 2 days. That's not enough. Definitely not. So this is a tablecloth, basically. With normal tablecloth fabric. And in the middle, in here, is a strip of 14 count Aida around the middle. So bring it closer so you can see it. So normal fabric, then the Aida and normal fabric again. And you stitch on this 14 count to over 1 full crosses. My needleminder is from Denka Designs. Yeah, I did not reach my goal on this one. It's one of the 3 I did not manage to reach my goal. For 2021, so for this year, I want to finish it. So an even bigger goal. But yeah, I really want to finish it. It's my oldest cross-stitch project. I started it, I think, in March 2019 when I started cross-stitching, and it has to be done. I want to give it to my grandma when it's done. So yeah, I want to finish it. And as I said, I'm going to tidy up while talking to you because otherwise I would go crazy. Okay, so oldest cross-stitching project, one of the few where I did not get my goal done, mostly because I do not enjoy it as much as I enjoy others, but I stitched on it yesterday, which means basically all of this and 3 out of 5 rows of the border I did yesterday, which means basically 2 rows of the border is all I did in 2020. Yeah. I stitched on yesterday because I wanted to stitch on all of my projects, but I did not reach my goal during December once again. And I kind of like stitching on it. It's not terrible. It's just not 100% my style, but as I said, I want to gift it to my grandma, and we don't have the same style. But yeah, so that's Lavender Garden. Okay. So as I said, I started this one, I think, end of March 2019, and it did not take long. And beginning of April, I did not keep 100% track back then, so I don't know exactly. But beginning of April, I already started my second project, which was Tiger Chilling Out by Dimensions. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. Then here is the designer. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name once again, because every time I did, it did not work on it. So yeah, here's Tiger Chilling Out. A kit by Dimensions, and I show you a picture of what it looked like last time here. So my goal for 2020 with this project. In 2019, I realized I had made a mistake. I was off by 1 stitch, so I had to frog quite a big area. So my goal for 2020 was to frog all the wrong bits and then stitch 2 columns. And that's what I did. I actually finished my goal on this one. Sorry, not prepared. I finished my goal on this one. So the bit I had to frog, I don't know if you can see it. Down here it's a bit brighter, the fabric. That's where the holes are bigger because I had to frog down there. But yeah, down here was a big area I had to frog, and then I stitched 2 columns in here, which now means I have the first quarter done in 2 years. Not perfect, but yeah, it's fine. This one is stitched an 18 count black Ada 2/1 full cross. The needleminder is from Denkai Designs, and my goal for 2021 will be to finish the top half. So basically cutting through here, finishing everything above. So I have to finish, well, basically his head for 2021. Looking forward to this one, but probably going to stitch on during the summer, because I have more daylight stitching then, and I only can stitch on this one during daylight. I had not finished my goal, so I wanted to stitch on it during the summer once more. And basically I had to stop at around 3 to 4 p.m. because the light got so bad and I could not see the holes anymore. So yeah, waiting for the summer to stitch on this one some more. But I really love the project and love how it's turning out, because those bright colors on this black fabric looks fabulous. But as I said, kind of a little bit annoying that I can only stitch on it during daylight. But yeah, that's that one. And the goal I finished, I think yesterday. On the 31st of December, I finished my goal on him. But I finished it, so I'm happy with that. Okay, next project is Color the Mountains by Golden Kite. That's what it's going to look like when it's done, and I show you a picture of what it looked like last year. And this is where I got to, so really happy with this one. My goal for 2020 was to do 16,000 stitches, and that's exactly what I did. It's stitched on a 25 count 2/110 stitch. The needleminder is from Denkai Designs. And with those 16,000 stitches, because those pages are kind of small, I finished 6 pages during 2020. I finished page number 2, 3, and 4. Pages number 14 and 15. No. Pages number 8 and 9, and page number 15. So yeah, really happy with this one. Going to continue in diagonal pages for 2021. And as I said, I'm having kind of strange goals for my full coverage pieces. So for this year, 2021, I'm going to do 4,563 stitches on this one, which which will give me this page finish. And starting on here, I might actually get this page finish as well down here because it's only a partial page and this page is already started. So that would be pretty nice. But yeah, here is Colorado Mountains, and this is one of those projects I'm thinking about doing as my focus piece during 2022 because I might be able to finish it. Then it's not a super big full coverage one because that is the bottom already, and I think the midpoint width-wise is somewhere around here. So yeah, we'll see. Here we go, Colorado Mountains. Really happy with this one because 6 page finishes sounds great, and it does only have 21. So not a lot of pages at all, and as I said, the last row are only partial pages. So nice progress on this one. The next one is another golden kite, and it's called the Chimney Sweep, as I said, also by Golden Kite. That's what it's going to look like when it's done, and I show you a picture of what it looked like last time here, or last year here. This is where this one is at. My goal for this one was 6,101 stitch, and I did exactly that, finished my goal. It's stitched also on a 25 count light blue even weave, 2/110 stitch needleminder again from Denka Designs, and this one I'm stitching extreme cross country, and therefore there's a lot of white in here because I always go up in the top left corner and pick the next color that's missing and then complete the color over the whole piece. In the top left corner it's white background, so therefore all my colors are white, and you can see a lot. But yeah, here we go. This is Chimney Sweep. Really happy with this one, and during 2021 this one will also get 4,563 stitches, which should get me a lot more progress up in here. And yeah, maybe I move on to another color. Maybe I finish the one I have on my needle at the moment. But yeah, that's the Chimney Sweep. And my next project is Norwegian Ship Under Sail, also by Golden Kite. It's a small edition, which still means it's 400 stitches wide, 278 stitches high. There are two more project sizes on the Golden Kite website, but I decided for a small one. That's what it's going to look like when it's done, and I'll show you a picture of what it looked like last time here. So this is where it's at right now. It's stitched on 18 count Ada 2/1 full cross. Needleminder is from Denka Designs. Last year I wanted to do 8,000 stitches on this one, and I did, which got me 3 page finishes because page number 1 was not quite finished. I finished page number 2 as well, and page number 9 down here. For 2021 I want to do 4,563 stitches on this one, which I think should get me close to page number 3 finished. Page number 3, as you can see down here, is finally a page with the ship. So really looking forward to that one, because so far it has been background, which is not super exciting. It's going to be a big one. I'm not going to get anywhere near a finish next year. So yeah, this one is going to stay with me for quite some time, but I enjoy it. So that's Norwegian Ship Under Sail, and it's getting complicated right here. So let's get this one packed away and we can move on to my next project. My next project is Lilac Fairy. It's a kit by Vavako. There's everything included, also the metallic thread which will be down here in her dress, and where I'm not looking forward to stitch with because it's DMC metallic, and the way it feels on the thread card, not very nice, but we'll see. I'm not yet at a position where I can start stitching on her dress, but yeah, you'll see that in a second. I first show you a picture of what it looked like last year here. So my goal for 2020 was to finish this piece, and as you have not seen it in my finish parade at the beginning of the video, you probably can guess I did not finish my goal on her. This is what she's looking like right now. So basically I've stitched a little bit up in the swirl and the wing, and then finished her hair and face and the butterfly and moved a little bit further down. But yeah, I did not finish her. She's stitched on 14 count lilac Ada, mostly 2/1. The background is actually stitched 1/1 to give it some nice dimension. I really like how it looks with that. Sorry, the needle minder is from 123 Stitch, and yeah, as I said, did not finish my goal on her. So therefore I did stitch on her during December as well. I did stitch on her yesterday for about 2 hours. So this is Lilac Fairy. I really love this project. I really love how it's turning out. But it just kind of fell down the bandwagon due to all my full coverage stitching last year, and I did not stitch on her as much as I wanted to. In 2021, as she's a fancy lady, and actually the first fancy lady I show you today, I want to finish her. She's one of my focus pieces because she's a fancy lady. Yeah, looking forward to stitching on her some more. She's really, really beautiful. Yeah, that's Lilac Fairy. We'll see if I will be able to finish her this year. As I said, last year it did not turn out that well. Okay, now let's move to my first Heaven and Earth designs. This is Mini Magic Mirror. Artwork is by Anne Stokes. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. And I show you a picture of what it looked like last year. And this is where she's at right now. She's stitched on a 28 count Lugana 2/110 stitch. Needle minder is from Denka Designs. Is it? No, it's from Just to Heavenly. It's from Just to Heavenly, and my goal for 2020 were 8,000 stitches, and I did those, which meant I finished page number 1 and then decided to move along the top row over to the left side, because normally I start my full coverage pieces in the top left corner. This one I decided to try another method and started in the top right. I do not like that, so now I'm making my way over to the top left corner, and then I can stitch downwards. So, yeah, really happy with this one, especially the skull. It looks amazing. And yeah, I'm going with my thread wherever it takes me. So I did stitch a lot down here on page 8 and over here as well. Moved a little bit more downwards, and in page number 2 as well. This year for 2021, as she's a fancy lady and a full coverage piece, I want to do 9,126 stitches on her, which will definitely get me page number 3 finished as well. So yeah, this is Mini Magic Mirror, and I can't wait to get some more done on her. Here we go. But this mirror up in here, all those reds, that's confetti hell. So we'll see about that. Yeah, and then, sorry, I have to clean up behind me, because otherwise it's not going to work out that great. I'm going to go crazy over here if I don't do that. I know for you it's a little bit annoying because I sit there doing nothing for a few seconds, but I have to. Okay, next project is Dragon Dancer. This one's also artwork by Anne Stokes and also charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. That's what it's going to look like when it's done, and I show you a picture of what it looked like beginning of 2020. So this is where I'm at right now. Sorry, this is where I'm at right now. My goal for 2020 were 16,000 stitches. That's exactly what I did. This one is stitched on a 32 count 2/110 stitch, and basically I finished page number 2 and page number, I think, 13, 12 or 13, I'm not sure anymore. But yeah, 3 pages are not done. I'm working on page number 3 to finish that one soonish. For 2021, my goal is, as she's a fancy lady, 9,126 stitches, which will get me nowhere near the fancy lady, but nevertheless, sorry for bumping the camera, it will get me a page finish on here and probably also down here. So moving further along with my diagonal pages, and full coverage is not my focus for 2021, so therefore it's okay that those projects will not get a whole lot of progress. Here we go. This is Dragon Dancer. It's a really big piece. I think it has a bit more than 100 pages, or 96, something like that. So it will take a long time to finish that one, and to actually get to the picture on that one, because as I have so many projects, it gets not as much of attention as it deserves. But that's kind of the problem with all of my projects. Okay, next project is another big one. This is 4 Seasons, also charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. The artwork is by Jessica. Yeah, that's what it's going to look like when it's done, and I show you a picture of what it looked like last year here. This is where it is right now. In 2020, I wanted to do 8,000 stitches on this one, and that's what I did. This is stitched on 25 count 1/1 full cross. Needleminder is from Denkai Designs. And with this one, I'm going in strips of 20 stitches high over the whole width of the pattern, and then move down to my next 20 stitches row. And my next row of 20 stitches height. I think there are about that much, and that will be the end of the pattern. So I'm really close to finishing the first row. I will do that during 2021, but I will only do 4,563 stitches on this piece overall. But yeah, really looking forward to getting over there and finish that first row. Yeah, here we go. Really happy with this one. I have a lot of extra fabric over here at the side, so I might cut that down when I get when I finish the row. So it's just a little bit smaller to hold. But yeah, here we go. With this one, it's getting super complicated to take pictures and so on, just because it's so wide but not really high. So yeah, it starts getting complicated. Okay. Did I tell you the needleminders from Denkai Designs? I'm not sure. It is. Fabric count, I told you. Okay. Okay. I lost my needleminder. I'm sorry. Where did it go? Oh. I search for that one later. Okay. There it is. Found it. Okay, I'm doing that now. I'm sorry. I know it's a little bit annoying for you to have to wait if I sort such things out. But yeah, that's just sometimes how it works. Okay, I'm done. We can move on to the next project, which is Story Keep. The Frog Prince artwork is by Melanie Dallin, and it's also charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. So let me show you a picture of what it looked like beginning of the year. And here we go with this one. This is stitched on a 32 count ice blue linen 2/110 stitch. Needleminders from Denkai Designs. And with this one, my goal were 8,000 stitches. I finished those. So happy with that. And for 2021, as there's a fancy lady in the picture, I want to do 9,126 stitches on this one, which will get me nice progress. I'm really close. So I'm over here in that corner, crossing through here, and I'm really close to starting her crown. I think in the next diagonal or something like that, I will get to her crown. So I'm really looking forward to that. And when I had to stop, or wanted to stop last year, because I finished my goal, there was a voice inside me, just keep going and go over to that crown and stitch a little bit on the crown, because so far I only did background, but I didn't, and that's what I'm getting to do this year. So Story Keep the frog prints. It's a Story Keep, and still it's so big. It's, I think, 630 stitches, 635 stitches high, so it's super big, but beautiful. And I'm looking forward to continue stitching on this one as well. A few of those full coverage pieces, I finished my golds, I think, as early as in August, so it's about 4 or 5 months I did not stitch on them anymore, and I can't wait to get back to them. The next one, I think, is the first full coverage goal I finished. It's Mini Katie and Cruncher. The artwork is by Hannah Lynn, and it's shredded by Heaven Enough Designs. That's what it's going to look like when she's done. So she's a fancy lady as well. I show you a picture of what she looked like beginning 2020. And this is where she's at right now. She stitched on 25 count 2/110 stitch. Needleminder is from Denka Designs. With her, I have a strange stitching style. I can't even explain my stitching style really. But down here, I started on the shark, and moving further along, I will probably get into her face. For last year, I wanted to do 8,000 stitches. As I said, I finished my goal on her quite early. And as she's a fancy lady, I want to stitch 9,126 stitches during 2021 on her, which should get me into her face, I think. Not sure. But yeah, really enjoying her. Yeah, that's Mini Katie and Cruncher. She has beautiful colors, as I said. Then here I reached the shark, which also has really beautiful colors in him. So I'm looking forward to continuing on her, especially because it's been a while since I stitched on her. And next time stitching on her, I just fill in this column with black. So that's kind of fast as well. Okay. Now, let's move to my next project. And with my next project, I will have to tell you some more about another challenge, which I have not done yet and honestly completely forgot about. Or does it come in the end? I'm not sure. I'm going to tell you while showing you the piece. I'm talking about Mini Cinderella, also charted by Heaven Enough Designs. The artwork is by Alexandra Daw. That's what she's going to look like when she's done. I show you a picture of what she looked like at the beginning of last year. And this is where she's at right now. She stitched on 28 count 1/1 4 crosses. Needleminder is from Denka Designs. And yeah, it looks like a lot of progress, but it was only 8,000 stitches last year. But with her being only a little bit more than 41,000 stitches, that's more than 20% done on her. As she's a fancy lady, I'm going to do 9,126 stitches on her. And then there's a challenge in the Full Coverage Fanatics Facebook group to stitch 21,000 stitches in the year 21. I decided to go with her because those 21,000 stitches are kind of a bonus goal if I have finished or close or nearly finished all my other goals. I could use that to get some more stitches in. And then I decided on her because she's one of the fancy ladies, but she's the only fancy lady I'm stitching with full crosses. And in the Full Coverage Fanatics, if they have a specific amount of stitches you have to do, they mean full coverage stitches. And if you do 10 stitches, you have to double the amount. So if I would have chosen any of my other fancy ladies, I would have to do 42,000 stitches in the year. That's not happening with all my other goals, and especially because it's a year of fancy ladies. So she will be the one I will choose if I close to finish all my other goals and have some time left. I will use her for that challenge as well and give her some more attention. 21,000 stitches, that gets me kind of close to a finish on her. This background stitched in here, that's a blend of one strand of blending filament 032 by Krennic and one strand of B5200, so you might see the sparkle in here. Yeah, that's Mini Cinderella. Looking forward to filling in more of the clock up in here and moving further down to finally get into the fancy lady herself. I did stitch a little bit down here on the pumpkins, and I think I started a little bit on her shoe. No, on her dress as well. There's a little bit already done on her dress. That part. I started that a little bit, but yeah. I want to move further into her, and yeah, that's Miss Cinderella. And next project is finally not a full coverage project anymore. All those full coverage projects I started during arbitrary August in 2019, where I did not know what I'm going to start, and I just got those full coverage pieces one after the other, and yeah, it kind of got annoying because especially during 2019 I did not get a lot of purpose into my full coverage pieces because I started so many in August. Okay, next project is by Priscilla. It's a kit. It's a tiny stockings ornaments. There are 30 different ornaments in here. I do not have a picture of what they look like last year or something like that, because I have them all here. And during 2019 I finished 3 of them. My goal for 2020 was to finish another 16, and I did that. So I have my 19 finished pieces over here, and I will show them to you real quick, and then we'll talk about goal for 2021. So those are all 14 count Ada pieces, 3.5 inches wide, 4 inches high. So that's it. And all stitched 2 over 1. That's the first one I stitched during 2019. This one was finished in 2019 as well. And this is the last one I finished during 2019. And now we're moving into my finishes for, or my 16 pieces for 2020. It's quite a pack of Ada pieces, so bear with me. The reindeer. This one. This. In the kit, I'm just going to show you them, keep showing them and continue talking. In the kit, there are all the flosses except for one color, which was not there in the beginning. It kind of got missing, and I have one viewer who also stitches those. She finished her first one during December, and she also said she had one color missing. So it seems to be a theme with Priscilla that there's a color missing in those kits, but they're super cute. And because I was not really careful with my threads, and if I had like such a length missing, I would just throw it left over. I would just throw it away. So I ran out of one color now, so I have to switch out 2 colors with DMC at the moment. Probably get some more colors to have to switch out, but I'm fine with that. Because those are only really small pieces, so it's not noticeable if I stitch one with DMC and one with the provided colors. So that's the last one, by the way, the kitty, which basically means I have 11 of those stockings left over. I'm not going through them to show you the 11 that I'm missing, just telling you 11 are missing, and my goal for 2021 is to finish those missing stockings. Last year, so for 2020, I started 16 of them during Stitch Mania, and I actually think about that for this year as well, to start those remaining 11 during Stitch Mania, or maybe arbitrary August, something like that, and not start them right away as I intended to as travel stitching. I'm not sure. I don't feel like Christmas stitching at the moment, so I don't want to. But I like the idea to participate in Stitch Mania and start something every day. If not really starting something, because I all count them as one WIP. So yeah, I'm thinking about that again for this year, for 2021. And as I said, I want to finish the remaining 11 stockings and therefore have this WIP finished for 2021. Okay, the next WIP I want to show you is the Twisted Band Sampler by Northern Expressions Needleworks. This one is the specialty stitches version. She has one charted where so with the specialty stitches version, you stitch one band of cross stitch, one band of specialty stitches, and so on. And she has one charted with only cross stitches as well if you're not feeling comfortable to do those specialty stitches. But they are explained super well, and I never did any of those before, and I'm really able to do those. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to say for this one. I'll show you a picture of what it looked like at the beginning of 2020. So my goal for 2020 was to finish band number 8. So this band in here, that specialty stitch band. And this is where I'm at. So I did not manage to reach my goal. This one is stitched on a 32 count white opalescent linen, and I'm stitching 1/2 with the cord for dinky dyes. There's a conversion for Aurora's Raw, dinky dyes, and DMC, and I'm stitching with the dinky dyes. The needleminder is from Denkai Designs, and yeah, I love this project. But yeah, it just did not work out the way I wanted to. For 2021, I want to finish band number 12. So this band between green and blue in here, which will actually get me the corner, the third corner, because as soon as I reach there, my second will be done. Yeah, that's the goal. So a lot of progress on this one. But as I said, I really love this project, and again, like some others last year, it just did not get a lot of attention. I just started this band number 5 over here and finished band 4, and that's it. So I want to give it a bit more attention next year. This one will also go with me as travel stitching, because I do not have a lot of really good travel stitching anymore. So this one will probably come with me for that. Anything else I wanted to say about that? I have the feeling I wanted to say some more, but I don't know what. So I'm going to pack it away and we will move on. There are only 5 WIPs left. Yeah, 5 WIPs left. So we're getting closer to the end. I have a lot of WIPs. The next one is another Heaven of Designs piece. This one is supersized max color cliffhanger. The artwork is by Amy Stewart. That's what it's going to look like when it's done. And I'll show you a picture of what it looked like the end of 2019. Okay, and this is where I'm at right now. So for 2020, I wanted to do 16,000 stitches, and that's exactly what I did, which meant I finished that page over here, completely stitched those 3, and started page number 3 up in here. Yeah, really happy with this one. With this one, I choose my pages randomly. I think I tell you every update video I show this piece, but I have all the pages in the Tiny Decisions app in a wheel. So all the pages I can reach. So every page that connects to one of the already stitched pages, either directly or diagonally. And then I choose with the app which page I'm going to stitch on next. So presently I'm stitching on page number 3. That one should be done in 2021, because in 2021 I want to do 4,563 stitches on this project. It's stitched on a 40 count, 1/110 stitch, so it's pretty small, but yeah, really beautiful. And I'm really happy to have finished my goal for 2020, because 4 page finishes on a supersized one, that's pretty nice. Not as nice as it could be, but yeah, here we go. Happy with this one. Yeah, that's everything I wanted to tell you about that. At the moment, I always have the feeling that I forget something to tell you something with every project, but I think it's just that I feel like I'm rushing through, because while filming, I always sit on the floor in my living room, and it's getting to a point where I don't want to sit on the floor anymore. I want to get up and I want to take a few steps, because it's not very comfortable down here. So yeah. Okay, Next one is one I did not stitch a whole lot on last year or 2019, and it's Raven Queen by Nobilia. So far, I think I stitched 3 or 4 days on her at all, or overall. So I'm going to show you a picture of what she looked like beginning of the year. So this one is stitched on a 32 count pearl gray Belfast linen. 2/2. The needleminder is from Dankai Designs. And I reached my goal because I had started in the middle, and my goal for this year was just to reach the top. And yeah, I managed to do that. I stitched with my first Karen water lilies on that one, so I enjoyed that. Yeah, here we go. For 2021, I want to finish the top half. The half, as I said, is somewhere around here. So I want to finish everything from around here upwards. That's a lot of stitching. But as I said, it's Year Fancy Ladies, and she's one of my favorite fancy ladies, and therefore she needs, or she deserves, a lot of progress. Especially because I started her October 2019, and that's everything I did so far in more than a year. So she deserves a lot of progress. Yeah, the next one is similar to this one in regard to progress and what I did so far. I'll show you that right now. This one is Sleepy Hollow by Glen & Place. That's what it's going to look like when it's done, and it's so amazing. So I showed you a picture of what it looked like last year. Here I am right now. So my goal for 2020 was to finish the top row of the border and start the picture, which I did. The border is done, and I have one length of thread in this tree up in here. So yeah, I have finished my goal for 2020. This one is stitched on the colored for fabric, which is a 28 count casual linen by Pictureless Plus in the colorway Haunted. I'm stitching 2/2, and the needleminder is from Dankai Designs, and it's beautiful, and I love those beads up in here, so I did those as well already, and there are a lot of them up in here. So yeah, goal for 2021 is to give it a little bit more progress. I want to finish the first row of pages, which means the first row of pages cuts in through around here, and I want to finish everything above that. So a lot of stitching. But this one I started for Halloween 2019, so on the 31st of October. This one is more than a year old, and that's all I have. So as well as Raven Queen, it needs some more attention, it needs some more progress, and not only being stitched on every year for Halloween. Because this year as well, I think I stitched on the 2 days, around about end of October. So not happening anymore. Just not. I want to get even progress on all of my projects, and yeah, for that I have to stitch on it some more often, and not only for Halloween, which never was the plan. I just wanted to start for Halloween, which I did. Okay, next project is my last full coverage project. This one is supersized max color Once Upon a Fairy Tale, charted by Haven & Half Designs. The artwork is by Amy Stewart. And for this one, I do not have my normal cover page of the pattern, but instead a print, because there's so much detail on this one. And with my printed cover page, you could not see a lot. So I decided to order the print of the artist's page. And yeah, that's what I did. And up in here, I started top left corner and stitching about on that corner at the moment. So I don't show you what it looked like beginning of the year, because we have reached my 2020 starts. No, my 2020 starts. I confused myself there for a moment. Yeah, there are only 2 starts in 2020, which I have not yet finished. One of those is the Once Upon a Fairy Tale. So let me show you where I got to. I started this one on the 1st of January 2020 for my new year, new start. So there's a needle minder on there that says Happy New Year. It's by Lakeside Needlecraft, and my goal for 2020 were 16,000 stitches. That's what I did. That's where I'm at with this one. For 2021, I want to do 4,563 stitches on this one. And I decided I have reached down here with those line of dark stitches. I have reached the first shelf. So I'm going to continue this diagonal normally, also stitch that block down here, which only will consist of those dark stitches for the shelf. And then I will move in diagonals over the first shelf and not move further down. It's stitched on 40 count 1/110 stitch, so it's super tiny stitches. But yeah, not a lot of progress in 2021 with only a bit more than 4,500 stitches. But that's fine with me because 16,000 stitches last year were a lot to do, and this one is so confetti heavy and so many colors that I'm fine with doing a little bit less this year. But I'm really happy with the outcome. Really happy with the outcome. So that's that one. Okay. And now let's move to my last non-full coverage WIP, which is also my last Fancy Lady WIP, and also my last WIP overall. And I'm talking about Cinderella Rags to Riches. It's by Joan Elliott. There are basically two patterns in there. You have Cinderella in Rags and Cinderella in Riches, and you can hand stitch them separately, or you combine them, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to combine those two patterns. So as well, you will not see a picture of what it looked like before because I started it for my birthday on the 16th of June in 2020, and my goal for it was to only start it, and I did on my birthday with one length of thread, and then decided that's not enough. So during Joan Elliott July, I did stitch on it 5 more days, for each day half an hour. So that's where I got to. This is a 28 count casual linen in the colorway Fog by Pictures Plus, and that's where I got to. So basically, I started in the mirror, did a bit of the mirror, sorry, not the mirror, the window, of course. Started in the frame of the window, and then did the cranny in the middle. This ornament started with that. There are a lot of beads still missing in here, but yeah. As I said, 28 count, and I'm stitching 2/2. The needle minder is from Denka Designs, and yeah, here you go. Super sparkly already because I did a lot of the cranny already, and I'm happy with that. For 2021, I want to. So I started on the right side of the window, so over here, and I move further to the left, stitch the whole window with everything you can see in the background over here, and then finish Cinderella in Rags. So a really big goal for this one this year, but it's a year of Fancy Ladies. So yeah, big goal for my Cinderella. Looking forward to stitching some more on her because so far you can't see a lot, and I mean what you can see looks really good, but you can't see a lot. Okay, those were all my WIPs, and I know I have a lot of time. 19 overall, and I want to stay at that and get a little bit less, or have a little bit less at the end of the year. But I have one start planned, and the start I have planned is a Mirabilia chart. This one is Royal Games number 2. In the beginning of the video, long time ago, I showed you Royal Games number 1 as a finish for this year. Now I want to start Royal Games number 2 by Mirabilia. So that's that one. As I said before, on the same fabric like Royal Games number 1. So this is a 32 count white opalescent linen. I'm going to stitch 2/2 on that one as well. So yeah, that's my only planned start for next year. As I said, I don't want to start a lot more just because I have too many WIPs already. So that's it. I have now written down a little bit about what may happen during 2021. And I think a lot of that I have already told you. First of all, if I meet my goals, or I have the feeling I will meet my goals, I might do the 21,000 stitches in 21 with Mini Cinderella. I think about, if all my goals are met or I'm close to meeting my goals, concentrating a little bit more on my oldest WIPs, because I would like to, well, at least finish the non-full coverage WIPs out of 2019. As I have so many full coverage WIPs from 2019, I will probably never be able to finish all those WIPs. But yeah, that's kind of the thing I'm thinking about for 2022, to finish my non-full coverage WIPs out of 2019. So that would be kind of nice to start stitching towards that if I have already finished my goals for this year. I do not have a lot of travel stitching WIPs at the moment. I have my twisted band sampler, I have the tiny stockings ornaments, and that's basically it. For night shifts or something like that, I can take full coverage, but otherwise I don't feel comfortable taking full coverage stitching with me as travel stitching. So I might take some crochet, I might take some knitting. But if I feel I need some more travel stitching, I might start some Mill Hill kits. I think I have 5 or 6 in my stash, so I might start some of those just for travel stitching. And if KW Cross Stitch releases some other stitch alongs, as I said in the real beginning of my video, I have now done the autumn tree and I have the winter tree done. If she releases one of the other two, or maybe both, I will stitch those as well. I will start them, and my goal will be to finish them according to the stitch along. Just because I want to have all 4 of them done, and stitch alongs are the most fun if you stitch along with everyone else. At least that's what I think. Yeah, I think that's it. Last year, so during 2020, I participated in Stitch from Stash, and I rocked. I think both times, so you stitch in semesters with Stitch from Stash, I had more than 100 euros in my balance at the end. So I'm not going to continue with Stitch from Stash because I just feel like I don't need it. I don't need to control it that much. Even so, with Stitch from Stash, every month you get a budget. I chose 25 euros. And then for expenses, you have to, you buy something, so you lose that credit. But with finishes, and you can count page finishes on full coverage pieces, you can count parts on stitch alongs, and of course complete finishes. And for every finish you get some finish amount of money, which of course is no real money, but you know. And even if I take my end balance and take off everything I got just through my budget, so considering I had a €0 money budget, I still am in the plus. So I don't think I will continue with that one, just because it's a lot of work to put everything up at the end of the year. And I just don't need it anymore. There's one more thing. Jessie Marie does stuff. She's here on FlossTube as well. She created a Facebook group for 2020, which is called WIP Go, and she's continuing that through to 2021. With WIP Go, you basically make a bingo board, and in all those squares you put your projects together with your goals for each project. And every month, 2 projects or 2 squares get called, and you try to complete those goals if they're called. But of course, you can also complete your goal, mark it as completed, and the square might get called a few months later. So I created one of those boards again. I did that last year and I had a blackout because I put all my full coverage goals in there only. And for this year, I created one as well. Because with the start of Royal Games number 2, I have 20 WIPs, but I have 5 full coverage pieces. I want to do double the amount than with my other full coverage pieces. So that would be 25. And yeah, that's basically what I did. So I have that here. I've written it on my own, so you might not be able to read it. I have all my projects in here. I chose or I used a random number generator to put all those in by random. Nevertheless, Mini Magic Mirror landed next to the other Mini Magic Mirror, and my only new start landed in the middle. This middle space, square number 13, is a special square because whenever that one gets called, 3 projects that month get called, because then you have 25 WIPs for the whole year, and a lot of people have this middle square as a free square. So during January, this one got called. So 3 squares are called for January. So it's Dragon Dancer, Mini Magic Mirror, and Royal Games number 2. So for January, I probably will start Royal Games number 2. In the beginning, I thought about starting it only if I have finished one of my other projects to stay below 20 WIPs. But all of my projects that I want to finish this year are quite far away of a finish. So I decided to start it whenever it got called, and it got called in January. I'm not sure if I started in January or wait till February or something, but yeah, I might stitch on that one. And 2 other full coverage pieces are called, so I might stitch on those. They're both have another square in here, so Mini Magic Mirror, as I said, is next to the other one. Dragon Dancer is up in here again, so I might not finish the more than 4,500 stitches this month on either of those, because I want to stitch on some other projects as well. But I might give it a bit of attention just to stitch on them during when they're called in WIP Go. So yeah, that's basically my WIP Go board. And I'm going to mark or continue to mark the called for squares. And if I have reached the goal, I will put a check mark in pink so it's visible. So yeah, this is my WIP Go for 2021. Going to continue with that one. Yeah, and that's actually it. I can't believe it. I'm sorry, I know it took a long time. I hope you had some stitching with you. I mean, some of you might like those long videos. I know I do. I hope you have a wonderful 2021. I hope you enjoy all your plans. I hope you might want to watch my videos, my update videos, to see what I do with my plans and if I complete my goals. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful time. I hope you enjoy your stitching, and yeah, see you.